Hello, hello. So today what we're going to be doing is comparing functions' rates. That's their slope. Morning, Tate. That was fast. Just doing my intro. So that means that we're going to be looking at three different things. We're going to be looking at equations where you need to spot the slope in the equation. We're going to be looking at graphs where you're going to actually have to count out what the slope is based on which way the line is going. And we're also going to be given tables of information where we're going to be doing, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And it's your job to tell me which function has the greatest slope. Now, in addition to this week's assignments 9 and 10, which are the same skills as I need you to be absolutely proficient at this ability, you have to attach your scrap work. That is going to be 40% of your grade. Just showing me a picture of your scrap work. You can do that with your device. You can do that with a phone. I don't care. But you have to attach it to your assignment if you want the credit. Last week we had a major problem with plagiarism, and I do not want that to continue. So here's my added measure. You must attach a picture of your scrap work that is legible. Okay? So I'm going to get my timer up. And we're going to get started here in about what looks like 6 minutes. Put some words on the screen for everyone to see. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and dig up my math practice standards because I always need to the last second. Good morning, Austin. We'll give everyone a couple minutes because we know they're all clamoring to join up. So if you guys notice, requiring that we attach our scrapwork this week for credit. Do you guys think that'll be that big a deal? Just to take a picture with your devices? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Ooh, Well, then I need to create a solution to fix this plagiarism problem. I had 6 students in first and second period that just blatantly copy and pasted each other's work. And I thought it would help if I just required everyone to send me a picture of their scrapwork. I guess I could say that, well, if you're not typing it out would be kind of. I know you will. I'm talking about everybody. Let's just take a picture with your device, then add it as an attach. Like you put that picture in your Google Drive, and then you can just attach it to the assignment. All right, that siren means that it's time to do some work. Okay, so what are we doing? Okay, not vital. Okay, everybody. What we're going to be doing is looking at pictures of graphs. We're going to be looking at tables with like X and Y values. And we're also going to be looking at just straight up equations. And our job is to be able to compare them as data creators, which generally means a couple things. And the most important is knowing which one of the functions has the greatest slope or the greatest rate of change. So your assignment this week will include 2 functions. They might be pictures of a graph. They might be tables of X and Y values, and they might be equations. And your job is to tell me the slope of each of them. And then obviously, if you can tell me the slope of each of them, you can tell me which one has the greater slope. Okay. So for practice today, we're going to do a little bit of all 3. We're going to look at some pictures of graphs. We're going to look at pictures of equations and look at pictures of tables, calculate all their slopes, and then using just our basic know-how, we will declare which one has the greatest rate of change. And when I'm using the words rate of change or the word slope, I mean the same thing. That's just semantics. 2 things that mean the exact same thing. Good morning, SpongeBob. Okay, so let's start off with slope from a graph. Okay, so let me just put on the screen what we are doing. Okay. So let's get us a graph to look at. Okay, chat, check it out. Here's a graph. And my question is, what is the slope? Your right-hand statement is to tell me what the slope is. So what you need to do is count. Oh yeah, and we probably need to take a second here. And just as a public service announcement, everyone needs to learn how to type a fraction in a word processor. So when you're on Google Docs and you need to type a slope, you must use the front slash key, not a comma, not a parentheses, not a space. We're to practice typing fractions today is part of our lesson. So when I say count the rise over run, what I'm talking about is the change in, come on, there we go. That's the change in y over the change in x. So on this graph, it looks like it goes up and over. It goes up 1 and over 2. So the slope of this graph, m, oh, by the way, the m is the letter for slope. So the slope for this graph is 1/2. Because up 1, oh no, you're a 5-year-old in the other room. I'll go tell her to shush if she stays loud. So the slope of this one would have to be 1/2, okay? Now, the question, that will be part of your answer this week. Because you're going to get a picture of a graph maybe, and then you'll also get, so if you're having to, this will always apply. So let's actually make this into a problem. So let's say that this was the picture you got, and you were asked to compare that to, hang on. Here we go. That's not the one I want. That's not the one I want. There it is. Okay. Ah, it went away. Don't do that. Stop. Too late. All right. Apparently, I'm not going to be able to do that twice in a row unless I save the picture. Let's just go ahead and do another picture graph then. 1 second. Here, okay, I'll put it on the screen and then I'm going to go tell someone they need to shush. All right, chat. Here you go. Get the slope of this guy. There, I'm unmuted. Okay, so if we want to get the slope to this graph, we're going to be counting the rise of a run. Now, this one, you always want to be looking left to right. When you're counting slope, you always want to look left to right. Okay, So since you're always looking left to right, this one is going down. That means it's going to have a negative slope. The question is, how many units down and how many units over does it go? It's 1 square, 2 squares, 3 squares, 4 squares. So it goes down 4, and then 1, 2, and over 2. So the slope of this guy, it goes down 4, so it's -4 is the change of y, and to the right 2. That's the change in x, so its slope is -4/2. Now that division turns into, well, -4 divided by 2, negative divided by a positive mean negative value. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So the slope of this line is -2. So that's how you count the slope from a line that's going down. It's the rise of a run, and sometimes that rise is decreasing. I'm looking for a different, I had a different file with actual equations on it. 1 second. There it is. Okay. So we've done a couple with the picture of a graph where you have to count the rise of a run. Okay. So let's shift gears before we start comparing them. So let's try when you're just given the equation. Okay. So all right, so looking at this equation, this is one of my if I was a student, this is one of my favorite things to see on an assessment is this kind of problem, because I'm not asking you to do anything technical with heavy duty scrap work. All I need you to do is look very carefully at the line, this function. So this is in slope intercept form. So it says y equals mx plus b. So if you know that that's the formula and you see the equation, all I'm asking you to do is to spot the slope. M is the slope. So what is the slope? There's y. M is whatever is attached to the x. B in this case 8. So in this case, the slope is -10/3. That's it. You just have to be able to spot it in the equation, and it's right there. Whenever the equation is in y equals mx plus b format, it's right there. It's whatever the coefficient of the x is, whatever the fraction, decimal, whole number, integer, whatever is stuck to that x is the slope. Let's try another one. So what's the slope of this guy? I guess I should update our I can statement. Okay, so chat, what's the slope? If you know what you're looking for, it's staring you right in the face. Yep. Yep, you guys can see it. It's right there. The slope, which is m, is equal to negative 9/5. One second, teacher chat blowing up. Okay, so yeah. So that is how you spot the slope in an equation. So far, you can count the slope from a graph, or you can just see the slope in an equation. The real scrap work is going to come in where I give you a table and I ask you to calculate the slope, which is something we've been doing for quite a while. It is nothing super complex since you've done it so many times. Problem. Okay, so here's the table. Now, this is where you get options, and no one's going to tell you what to do. You've got to make this decision for yourself. You need to pick X and Y values to do the calculation because we're going to be doing the slope by doing the change in Y over the change in X. And what that means is Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. And this is where you'd have to have some scrap work. So to set that up correctly now, this is where you get a little voice and choice. You get to choose like, well, which two coordinates you want to do. So basically you need to pick. It does not matter which ones. Okay, so I'm a sucker for positive numbers. So I'll probably make this into Y2 and this into X2 right here and here. But I need to pick something before that because what we're doing is we're picking a beginning point and an ending point of this line segment. And traditionally, when you go down the chart, you're going to be getting stuff that's further along on the graph. So I'm going to make those twos. And so I just need to pick somewhere to start. Oh, it doesn't seem to really matter. I'm just going to pick the ones with the smallest values. So why don't I go ahead and make this X1 and Y1 here and here. So I would go to my formula and I put them in the correct spot. So Y2 would be 28 and Y1 would be negative 21. Now this is really, you have to be really precise here. We're subtracting whatever Y1 is. And if it's negative, we're subtracting a negative value right here, like that. So it's 28 minus a negative 21. All that's going to be over X2, which is 4. Again, since my X1 is a negative number, I have to subtract a negative number. So what I do is I nest that negative value in parentheses like that. So we're persevering in solving our problem. Haven't done anything really abstract. We're just trying to be very precise. So let's see what happens. All right, so whenever you're subtracting a negative value, think of it this way. What is the opposite of subtraction? It's adding. So this can be 28 plus 21, and the same thing on the bottom. So I guess that's where we're using some abstract rules and repeated reasoning. Okay, so what do we end up with? So 28 plus 21 would be 49. 20, 40, yep. And 4 plus 3 is 7. And 49 divided by 7. So the slope of this function would be 7. Now, I think I'm going to just do this once to prove it to you that it would not have mattered which 2 points you would have chosen. Let me save this for a second. So let's just say, for argument's sake, we had chosen 2 different points. Let's say we had chosen x1, x2, y1, y2. Let's just say that we chose these 2 guys. That would mean I'd be doing negative 49 minus a negative 63 all over a negative 7 minus a negative 9. Okay, the abstract rule still applies. The opposite of subtraction is addition. Well, negative 49 plus 63, oof, what's the difference of that? So 63 minus 49. That is really sloppy. 1 second. And my doorbell just rang, which is weird. So I'll be right back. unmute myself before I talk. That's a good idea. Okay, the difference is 63 and 49. Well, that would be the same as the difference of 64 and 50. If I just added 1 to both, so it'd be 14. It's a difference of 14, so negative. So it's gonna be positive. So that'd be positive 14 over negative 7 plus 9. That's 2, which comes out to be 7. Yeah. So what did I just do? What did I just do? Okay. So I constructed a viable argument, and I'm proving that it does not matter which 2 coordinates you choose. You can get the answer you want as long as you pick 2 coordinates and correctly fit it into the formula. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and try one more of those, and we'll talk about what your assignments actually look like. You put the numbers from the table into the equation, subtract and divide. Yeah, pretty much. That's how you're going to get the slope. All right, so let's do one more of those. All right. So here's your table. So chat, pick whatever 2 coordinates you want. If you're on the YouTube replay, pause now, try to calculate the slope, and then hit play, and let's see if we come up with the same answer. And go ahead. I'm always a sucker for positive numbers, so I'm going to go with these 2. This guy and this guy, this guy and this guy. So this will be my y1, and this will be my y2. This is going to be my x1. This is going to be my x2. The slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that would be 38 minus 32 over 5 minus 4. So that'd be 6 over 1. So I get the slope is equal to 6. So what have we talked about today? We've talked about finding the slope by looking at a graph. We've talked about finding the slope by looking at an equation, and we've talked about finding the slope by looking at a table. And now it's going to turn on you where you're going to get 2 things, and you have to compare those 2 things' slopes. So I'm probably going to put these on the screen one at a time. And if you're here live on Zoom, you might not be able to spot you might not be able to get the answer right in the amount of time frame, but it's going to go up on YouTube shortly after. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to put up with the first question, and I'm going to let you guys ask me questions that don't involve me just feeding you the answer. So I can just clarify what you're being asked to do. Go ahead and pull up your answer documents. Okay. So this is no longer assignment. This is no longer, this is. So these are the actual questions. So this. Okie dokie. So this is assignment 9, question 1. So chat, if you're looking at your answer document that was posted on Classroom and looking at this question, I'm gonna take some. I'll give you a minute to ask me, Mr. Matthews, what does this mean, Mr. Matthews? Am I doing this right? Sort of questions before I put up question number 2. Okay, question from chat. How do we type the answer? Okay, that's fair. And again, I wanted to stress that we need to talk about how you type fractions, but I'm pretty sure I've engineered it so you won't have to type many, if any, fractions this time. So, okay. Let me pull up your actual answer document. Okay, so I want you to give me the slope of function A and the slope of function B, and then tell me which one has the greatest slope. So on the doc, okay, so here's what it says on the doc. It says slope of let me change the color of this real quick. So it says slope of function A, slope of function B, and then it says the function with the greatest. I'm gonna abbreviate that because of room. Actually, no. Let me play with my screen real quick and get it on there. So this is assignment 9, question 1, and it literally says the function with the greatest slope is. Okay, that looks better. One second. Unmuted. Okay. So step 1, function A. So to solve this one, I'm not going to tell you what the answer is, but I'm going to tell you now, for this one, you're going to do the change in y over the change in x by doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that answer will go here. Then, wow, I really got marker all over the screen now. Then, for function b, for this one, you're going to look really super carefully that's supposed to be an I. You're going to look really super carefully at this function, and you're going to spot where it is. So it's always equals y equals mx plus b. So right there, whatever that number is in the function, whatever that number is in the equation, goes here. Now, once you have those two things, once you have the slope of function A and the slope of function B, the answer for this third part, which function, the function with the graded slope, you're either going to say, let me do the right colors. Your answer is either going to be A or it's going to be B. Whichever one has the greatest slope. So once you have the pink and purple answers, you just put that, you just have to declare whichever one is the biggest. That's it. So your answer for the function with the greatest slope, for all 6 problems, it's either going to be function A or it's going to be function B. Chad, does that make sense? Okay. So if you're confused about what the value is for m in function b, I'm telling you now, it's there, but you have to remember mathematicians are lazy, and there's certain numbers that if we don't have to write them down, we just don't. That's a big hint for function b. Chat, you can send me a message privately if you know what I mean. Yeah, exactly. That's right. So for those of you at home watching on the replay, someone had to make this, had a nice little learning moment today where in function B, you don't see a number here next, like there's no number next to the X. So you're wondering, well, what's the slope? But in math, we try to be as lazy as possible. And there are certain numbers we don't write down unless we have to. And this is one of those situations. Okay. So let me clean up the screen a little bit, because we got to get these other problems on camera. I think I'm going to leave this stuff down here because that should be helpful. Okay, so that was question number 1. So let's go ahead and get up question number 2. I'm going to have to take up more of the screen for this one. Okay, nothing has really changed per se. there anywhere I can put this? It's just gonna have to go. Okay, let me get some text on screen, make sure everyone understands what's going on. So this is officially assignment 9, question 2. This time function A is a graph, and function B is a table. And your answers are going to be, okay, so the slope of function A is the slope of the graph, the green line. The slope of function B, you're going to have to do that with your equation, changing y over changing x. So you'll give those as the answers for A and B. And then your greatest slope is, it's just, you have to tell me, is it A or is it B? Now, for those of you looking at this graph wondering, well, how do I count this? Where do I count this? I'm going to go ahead and mark some points for you to make it a little bit easier. There's one there. What I'm doing is I'm marking on the graph these exact locations, like these coordinates you can use for your counting. I don't want someone to say, oh, I couldn't tell because I couldn't see it. So there. For some reason, this didn't travel down. The change y, we change it x. Okay, so right now what you're doing at Home Run Stream is you're counting the slope of the green line by using these pink dots. You're putting that here, and you're putting that in as the answer for the slope of function A. Then you're doing the equation to solve for the formula to solve for the slope of function B, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and you'll put that in the purple answer for B. And then once you have those two, you just tell me which one is bigger. Okay. So that's question 2. And last but not least for today, let's do question 3. No, not that, not that. Nothing wants to work. Okay, this is going to be question 3 coming up. Let me go ahead and get it on screen. Okay. So in this one, I want the slope from this equation, and that's going to go in for A. And then you're going to get the slope from this table, and that's going to go in for B. And then all you have to do is tell me which one's bigger, A or B. All right, chat. I'm going to let you speak for everybody here for the next couple minutes. Are there any questions about the assignment at this point that maybe people at home would also be wondering about? Okay. No response from chat. So if you're on live and you're not getting this fast enough, it's all right. It's going to go on YouTube in just a minute. If you weren't here to join us, please try to join us live so you can ask questions, because we had some great back and forth today, and it really helped people that were here. But if you aren't here, it's just not as good. I understand if you can't make it because of time frames and commitments and whatnot, so it's all right. Email me questions, send me screenshots. Please contact me if you have any questions or problems, and we'll get through this. Again, I'm asking everyone to chat pictures of their scrap work. And okay, let's end the day with just a quick disclaimer on how to type fractions. Okay. I don't know if anyone's even going to watch this part, but I hope somebody does. So maybe I'll do this at the beginning of the next video. Okay. So it's really basic. If you have a fraction of 3/4, let's say, and you need to type that in text, some people try this. Some people just try this. Some people try this. I've seen this. Sometimes just a 3 with one of them. And none of these are right. Okay, none of those are right. The way you want to type it is 3/4. So if you want to type them correctly, just do number / other, like numerator / denominator, and everyone knows how to read it. Okay. So that was my quick public service announcement. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and taking care of your family. Keep an eye out on the news for updates as far as quarantine and social distancing. And I'll talk to you guys next time.